In the legal world, there is a combination of forces that feed a corrupt and suffocating legal system for attorneys. Law schools, law professionals, judges, and even the firms themselves for whom you work create a system, a matrix, if you will, that is nothing like what you thought when you passed the bar exam. The purpose of this podcast is to help you escape this legal matrix, leading you out of the proverbial desert to be free of the bondage of the matrix. Hosted by Bryce D. Nyer, attorney at law with over 30 years experience in the trenches of civil and criminal litigation at the state, federal, and international levels. He's a highly accomplished and resourceful legal professional, a true master of his craft, and he's here to help you get your life back. Here's your host, Bryce D. Nyer.
This is Bryce D. Nyer coming at you from Fayetteville, North Carolina, home of Fort Bragg, now known as Fort Liberty, but I'm not going to call it that. It's another episode of Escape the Legal Matrix, Lawyer's Exodus from Bondage. And so what are we going to talk about today? Well, I'm going to tell you what we're going to talk about today. We are going to talk about your shelf life and stop living in the past. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. Talk about your shelf life. We all need to talk about it. It's a great subject. And I'm glad to be here with all of you today, this morning, this evening, whatever time zone you're in. So last night, I wasn't really feeling very well. I was kind of sick. Didn't feel good at all. And during the night when I couldn't sleep, I began to think of a lot of things. Began to think of a lot of people in my life, people, family members, friends that I knew that are no longer with me, no longer in this life. Some of them died in their 20s, some of them in their 30s, relatively young, in the beginning of their life. And I began to think about my life. And then this morning, I felt really super good. I felt really connected with everything. I felt just on fire with passion and all of the domains of body, being, balance, business, and fulfillment. But I began to think about this thing about shelf life. See, here's the deal. In the legal profession, your life gets consumed by the legal matrix. In fact, probably in any profession that you're in. And what most people think when they're young is that they're going to live forever. And, well, I hate to have the spoiler alert here, but you're not. No, you're not going to live forever. Some people believe in reincarnation. I absolutely do not. I don't want to come back. Inflation's too high. Taxes are too high. I don't want to go through all this again. So I don't believe in reincarnation. I think once you die, that's it. You either go to heaven or hell. That's it. It's my belief. If you don't agree with it, don't care. But anyway, getting back to shelf life. You're only going to get one life in this world. That's it. You're born, you live, and you die. Some people used to say, well, two things are true, in life. You pay taxes and death. And I'm like, hey, not everybody's paying taxes. So your shelf life, it's limited, and you don't know when your last day is going to be. You don't know when your last breath is going to be. You just don't. You never know. Nobody knows. Even people that are terminally ill that know they're going to die, they just don't know the exact minute, the exact hour, the exact day. So that brings me to many subjects and many things we need to talk about. I mean, where in your world is your life right now? Where is it? I mean, do you understand that yesterday is gone, tomorrow has not arrived, and the only thing you have is right now, this moment, today? It's a harsh reality. I was having a conversation with a good friend of mine earlier this morning, and we were discussing about life and about marriage and ex-spouses and that sort of thing. And this particular friend of mine kept lamenting about an ex-spouse, wondering many things, many questions. And my position was, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. See, yesterday, it's gone. It's just gone. And I awakened to this discovery, excuse me, myself. I used to sit in my office when I was feeling down and having a cold beer And I would get my photo albums out of high school or college or when I lived overseas when I was an Army officer. And I would just continually go through and I would remember those particular moments when the photos were taken. And it would kind of get me down a little bit because I wanted to go back in time. I wanted to go back to those moments. And the harsh realization was that was just impossible. That was not going to happen. It just wasn't going to happen. There's nothing wrong with having memories and good memories. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. But when you focus entirely on the past of something you can't go back to, you cannot change, it can be destructive. And as I progressed in my legal career, I would sit many times in my office, and we call them sedations, call them pits, and I would sit there and I would just still think of, old girlfriends or relationships or what went right, what went wrong, or the best times I had. I'd sit there and say, God, man, I wish I could do it all over again. The way I feel right now, I don't feel good, and I want to go back to the way it used to be. I want to go back to normal. And here's the thing. There is no such thing as normal. I don't know how you kind of define normal. I mean, I guess you can define some things as normal, but I came to that final realization that everybody has a shelf life. You have a shelf life. God gives you one life. And you are, for the most part, you're in charge of it. Now, there are some that are not. There are some that are falsely imprisoned, some that are truly persecuted, some that are in real bondage, physical bondage in certain countries. And the only thing they're in control of is how they feel, what they think, and what's in their heart. And other people are controlling their physical freedom, where they can go, where they can't go, and may be controlling where they live or die. But for most of us, we're here right now today. And I used to worry about the future. I would worry about really stupid and silly things that I couldn't even control, things that had not even happened yet. I mean, worry is it's a reality. I mean, I think it consumes all of us. No, I don't think it. I know it does. It consumes all of us. We worry about everything from money to relationships to health to even the little things like, is our car going to pass DMV inspection? I mean, life is just full of worries. Till one day you're just like, God, I just can't worry anymore. I can't deal with this. And a lot of things in Scripture, they talk about worry, and even in Scripture, Jesus says, what are you worrying about? What are you worrying about? Why are you worrying? And, I go back to those a lot of times of Scripture, and it gives me relief from the pain. But if you're hanging on to the past, if you're hanging on to somebody or something that is not here today, that is from years or even decades ago, you have to let it go. You have to let them go. And I found this especially to be true when in my life I was deeply in love with somebody and I had to take that somebody off life support. And that she was gone and not coming back. And it was horrible. It was absolutely horrible. And I would cling on to the past of what could have been, should have been, even years ago. And there's a pain associated with that. And if you hang on to the past, listen to me, it's a thorn in your side. And you will feel the pain. The hardest thing that you will probably do in your life is be able to let go. To let go of the past, to let go of the pain, to let go of certain people, certain things, certain events. It is extremely difficult to do that. But it is absolutely necessary if you're going to rise in what we call the impossible game. If you're going to move forward, if you're going to transform your life, if you're going to rise as a king or a queen in the kingdom that you're building, you must let go of the past. You must realize that you do have a shelf life, and your shelf life is limited. And one day the big hand is going to come down from above, and it's going to take you off the shelf. So the question is, how are you living right now, today? And I thought about this as I was driving into the office. I mean, this subject would just not leave my mind during the night. It would not leave my mind during this morning. I kept thinking about it. And this calm and this peace came over me. I can't really explain it because I've just been so inundated with stress and pressure and deadlines that, my balance kind of went out the window. But something about last night and something about this morning and something about this topic of the shelf life and the past, it just wouldn't let go. I felt compelled to feel it, to discuss it. And I find that so often, especially in my legal practice with my clients, they have not learned to let go. They harbor hatred. They harbor ill will. They're poisoning their bodies and their minds with the past. And it's really a result of their immaturity. It's their failure to be an adult. It's their failure to realize that they too have a shelf life. They measure themselves in their so-called victories in court to hurt the opposing side, the other person. And in reality, in the legal system, nobody wins. Now, those that are in the criminal system that get acquittals, the not guilties, that's a win. That's a win. But when you go through the legal system, the legal process, the legal matrix, whatever position you're in as a client, as a plaintiff, as a defendant, or as we're talking here, a law student or lawyer, there's going to be a lot of pain in your life. And there's nothing wrong with drawing off of your experience from the past so you don't repeat mistakes. There's nothing wrong with having a little bit of scars. The scars remind you of, maybe I shouldn't have done that. Maybe I shouldn't have gone there. Maybe I shouldn't have said that. Maybe I shouldn't have been with that person. And it becomes your warning system so you don't enter into those type of relationships or scenarios again. But if you constantly do what I used to do and just wish and wish and wish to go back in time and to the past, and it will eat you up. It will consume you to where you forget to live in the present. You can't live in the present if you're trying to live in the future or you're trying to live in the past. It just doesn't work. It is not like science fiction. It's not like these movies or TV shows where they go back in time. That just doesn't happen. That is not reality. That is delusion and deception. They're entertaining to watch them on a TV or movie, but it's not reality. You're not ever going to be able to go back in time. Not in this world, you're not. You're just not. And so you've got to hold on to today. You've got to grasp today. You have to be in passion and deep like with right now, this moment today. In the legal profession, i.e. the legal matrix, if you allow the legal matrix to control you, to dictate its terms to you and put you in that box, I assure you, you will never have a fulfilling life. You will always be miserable, and you will always attempt to reach back to the past that no longer exists. And you won't even think about your future. You won't even think about today. You'll just be thinking about the next deadline. You'll worry yourself practically and literally to death. I want you to just close your eyes for a minute. I want you to imagine and picture there's a shelf on the wall in front of you, in front of your desk. And on that shelf are all the people you knew, loved ones, friends, significant others that are now dead. They are no longer among the living. They are gone, and they are not coming back. But there you are, you're still on the shelf. So what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Because nobody's coming to save you. You have to save yourself. Remember that. It's one of the first things we talked about on some of the first episodes here of Escape the Legal Matrix. You have to empower yourself to escape the legal matrix. But if you continually grasp and reach back to a past that no longer exists, it's going to be empty. There's no skill sets. There's no weapons of war to reach back to. You have to rely on your experience, which is okay. Nothing wrong with that. Experience counts. But you have to live in the moment. You have to be present right now. What is relevant is what is happening right now, this moment. Even as you're listening to my voice, you're listening to it right now in the present. Listen, I would love at times, this is true, I would love at times if I could go back in time. I would do many things differently. But if I did go back in time, and if I did do things differently, I don't know what ripple effect it would have on my future. How would my life be different if I did go back in time and I didn't experience the pain or I didn't have the relationships I had? What would be different? Would my life really be better today in the future if I went way back in time? And I can ask myself that every day, and I'll drive myself crazy doing that. Because why? Because I can't. It's delusional. It's deception. It's not reality. It's not. And you young law students, you young lawyers, right now that have just passed the bar, or you're entering working for a firm as an associate, you have to realize that even in that law firm, you're going to have a shelf life. Yeah. And the quality of the shelf life you have is going to be dependent upon who? You. You. This is why I am so adamant about Legal Warrior that I am building. This is why I'm so adamant about escaping the legal matrix, so that you can open, own, operate, and lead not just your own law firm, but lead your own life. It's about freedom. Don't you get it? Aren't you listening to me? It's about freedom. If you reach back to the past and you cling to the past, you are not free. You are in bondage. There's a chain around your neck. It's weighing you down. You have to do what I am doing. You have to sever ties with the past. You have to go through a complete soul detox. You must get away from toxic people, toxic relationships, and most of all, you must get away from the toxic past. Your shelf life has many variable factors for how long you are going to be on that shelf. And if you continue to reach back to the past, if you live in the past, if you consume the past, if you live under delusion and deception of things you cannot change, of places you can no longer go to, of people you can no longer be with, your shelf life is going to get shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter. And then what do? You're on the shelf of misery. You're like in a grocery store, the produce section, the meat section, whatever, the bread section. You are. So many shelves in the store. You're in the store of life. Where is your shelf located? Are you on aisle past, aisle future, or aisle present? Clean up on aisle past, clean up on aisle past. Okay? I mean, that's what's going to happen. Let it go. Let him go. Let her go. Let them go. Let the situation go. Let it all go. It's not going to pay your bills. It's not going to drive you to work. It's not going to heal your relationships. It's not going to allow you to rise to king or queen, building your kingdom of a new law firm, new business, new empire. It's not. It'll weigh you down. It weighed me down until that one day when you just take that cold look in the mirror and you're like, man, why am I feeling so miserable? What is it? You know what it is? It's the stench of the past. Yeah. It's hanging on. It's clinging. It's clinging like herpes. It won't go away. Okay? But the past can go away. It can. And you just have to let go. This is something I want you to think about right now, this moment. It's probably one of the most important things you will ever have to do. It is one of the most important things you need to do. Let go. Let go of the past. Don't live in the past. Future's not here yet. Right now, this moment today is all you have. You need to pick up the phone, perhaps call a loved one or a friend that you have not spoken to in a long time. You need to get up, go take a walk, and feel the air on your face. And if it's sunny, let the sun beam on your face. Just take a walk, listen to some music, take a drive, read a book, take yourself to a movie, take yourself to lunch. Live today. Live today. Because you do not know when your last day on this earth is going to be. And if you go to bed at night and you think, it's no problem, I'll get up in the morning, you're arrogant and you're naive and you're stupid. Because you don't know that you will awaken tomorrow morning. You do not know that with 100% certainty. No man or woman on this planet can say with 100% certainty that tomorrow morning they will awaken to a new day. Many do not. Many do not. And you know people that have not. If you think back to when 9/11 happened, people got on a plane. They were going to travel somewhere. People were waiting to meet them at the airport, and they never arrived. They never arrived. There have been people that go to bed at night and have heart attacks in their sleep and never awaken in the morning. I had a good friend of mine. He was in his 30s. One of my best friends. Loved him to death. Had a wife and 3 kids. Top of his game. Just funny as hell. I was in a deposition. I got called out of it. And I couldn't believe what I heard on the phone. That he was dead. In his 30s. Some virus or something, attacked his heart. And his wife was a registered nurse. And she could not save him. And he was in the front yard, just watering the lawn or doing yard work or something simple. Wasn't anything complicated. And he fell over dead. I couldn't believe it. In the beginning of his life. And I just sat there because we were basically only a year apart in age. Brilliant man. Brilliant man. Over 700 people attended his funeral. And I just, when I sat there and I looked at him in the casket, I just was beside myself. I couldn't believe it. I could not believe that I would never talk to him again, that we would never have a beer again together, that we would not enjoy a laugh. And reality seems to set in, and then you go back to your life with the deadlines and everything, and you forget about it. You forget that you have a shelf life too. It's sobering, I know. It's a topic people don't want to talk about, but it's a topic that you have to think about. You have to talk about. If you don't, you can't live. You can't ever live. Let go. Let go of the past. Don't reach back. It's okay once in a while to, have some memories, the good times. There's nothing wrong with thinking of the good times. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with cherishing loved ones and people. That's okay. But if you're constantly consumed and you're using the past as a tool of sedation because you don't want to deal with the reality of today, that's not good. That's destructive. That's destructive. So where in your world right now are you clinging to the past? Who are you clinging to? What are you clinging to? And whatever it is, let it go. Let it go. Let her go. Let him go. Let the situation go. Live right now, today. Today. Okay. It's a heavy topic, but it's an important topic. It's an important subject. Why? Because you have value, because you're important. It's your life. Live it. Don't let the legal matrix take it from you. Live it. Be passionate about it. Be passionate about body, being, balance, business fulfillment. I'm not telling you to do anything I'm not fighting for and warring for myself. I'm in this war with you. I'm right there with you. I have significant experience in this. I do. And one conversation won't cure it. It's going to take a long time. It's a war. It's an everyday war. You know what to do. Reach out to me. Contact me. Hire me. Help me to help you build your new law firm, your new business. We don't have to rely on the past. We just have to be in the present to build the future. Okay, this is Bryce D. Nyer, Love and Light. You've got homework to do. You've got a serious topic to think about. And I'll see you on the next episode of Escape the Legal Matrix. Bryce out.